Yo, what is good, guys? Daniel Savage here. So in this section, I do want to talk about news. So one thing about the news is news sometimes affects the market really bad, and sometimes it doesn't even have an effect on the market. So in most situations, let's say for example, this is the Great British Pound and the Japanese yen. We have a news little symbol right here. So basically, this is kind of letting you know, like, hey, look, there's a little event that's going to happen here. So most of the time when the impact of the news is very low, nothing will happen to the market. Remember, the trend is still going to trend. But if there's very high impact news, something that could really affect the pair, I would honestly just stay away from that pair or get in right before the thing is the news is going to happen, and get out before it's going to happen. So get in quick, get in out quicker before it is about to release on that news event, if it's a high impact news. Me, when I see a little red, let's say for example, this was super red and I see a trade here, I'm going to get in this trade. And the second we're getting closer, like, hey, look, this is at, 1900. Okay, I'm going to get out way before that. I'm going to get out at least 1800. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hold that trade because I don't want to lose money, or, you never know. I like to stay safe. So I like to stay away from high impact news. When it's a low impact news or like a medium, okay, I'll get in, or, I'll just use proper risk management. But how do we know if it's a high impact? How do we really know? Because sometimes TradingView can kind of like mess with you. So I go to Forex Factory to check my news and stuff like that. As you guys can see here, this is the little calendar. So let's go here. So as you guys can see, it'll kind of show you like this when you guys load up. But all you got to do is just go to more. And boom, today is Sunday, April 12th. What do we have? Okay, so we have Japanese yen news here at 2 o'clock. I'm at 650, sorry. So what are we going to do? We click on the open detail. So basically, as you guys can see here, March 9th, we had actual 3% right here. So previous was 3%, and the forecast is showing us 2.9%. So it is worse than what happened previous month. So what does this mean? This could potentially mean that this is bad for the yen. So what happens in that situation? This thing, since we're GBP, JPY, the pound versus the yen, this could potentially go up due to the fact that it's bad on the yen. And if we were in the yen's favor, it would go down. So since we are not in the yen's favor, GBP could potentially go up against the pound due to the forecast, which isn't 100% accurate. It's more of like an average. So that's how we could use this little folder here. But then again, it's yellow. So if you click on it right here, or put it above it without clicking, it'll show you low impact expected. So it won't really have a humongous impact. So it could probably move a little bit, or it could probably not do anything at all. But that's what happens when you guys see a yellow. It's really rare it goes a big move happens. Usually big moves happen when you see a red folder. So when you see a red folder, I honestly just tell people stay away. I don't recommend you getting in it. Don't get in at all. So as you guys can see here during the currency, this is, like I said, the Japanese yen. You have the time it's going to be released. You have what it's about. And then you click on the folder to look at the details about it. And then you'll have notes and stuff like that. So in the usual effect, you'll see actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So basically, you guys will see everything in here. Released monthly about 11 days after the month. Okay, next release date is May 13, 2020, which is tomorrow. Much of this data is released in the monetary base report up there. You guys can read all this stuff. Why do traders care? It is positively correlated with interest rate early in the economic cycle. An increasing supply of money leads to an additional spending and investment. And later in the cycle, expending money supply leads to inflation. So at the end of the day, this doesn't look something that could concern me that much. So all I can really see is that our forecast is lower than the previous forecast, so it's not in the yen's favor. So this is basically telling me, hey, look, there's a potential that, this could help us continue to the upside. I don't see any reason to why we can go down if we are in this uptrend. But then again, we are kind of in this little side channel. So if we had, like, let's say, for example, entered in this little consolidated setup right here, which is hideous. I would not have recommended this. Let's get the 4 hour. Look at the 4 hour. The 4 hour did create a strong resistance right up here that is being very well respected. And as you guys can see, we have support here as well. So in this situation, I'm going to be patient and see which one gets broken. If we break under here, I'm looking for sells. If we break above, I'm looking for buys. So in this situation, I will be looking for buys until we break under here. And then I will be looking for buys when we break above here. I'm not going to get into this consolidated setup. Not at all. I'm not that crazy. So as you guys can see, this is basically how we will identify news and stuff like that, because there are other websites, but they're not very that well accurate. So Monday, what do we have for Monday? We have CNY. Don't worry about CNY, honestly, but you guys can just check this anyways. As you guys can see, boom, actual, okay, why traders care, blah, blah, blah. You'll see here. I'm not worried about that, to be honest. Okay, now look at this. On Wednesday, look at this. Wednesday, we have retail sales and core retail sales. So this will impact the US dollar really bad or really small, but it will impact it one way or the other, whether it's going up or down. So I'm going to click on this folder right here. Okay, so looking at here, we have a -5 and the previous was a -5 on here. So this is getting worse. So what does that mean? This is bad for the dollar. So that only means one thing. That only means one thing. So since it's bad for the dollar, most likely we're going to keep going up. Because if it was good for the dollar, we'd be going in the dollar's favor. You know what I'm saying? So in this situation, it's bad for the dollar. So let's say I had a buy like this. Super choppy setup here, which I would not have taken. Let's say, and then we saw something like that. I wouldn't get into that trade because it's a high impact news. I really don't like to get into it, but in this situation, it's in favor of the pound against the dollar because it's pretty bad for the dollar. So in this situation, if I were to buy on this, okay, I wouldn't feel too bad about hitting my targets because there's a potential that this thing could hit your target. I would have a small risk like this, 16 pips in order to make 45 pips, potential, 3 times your risk almost, 2.7. And I would, probably risk like 1.5 or 2% on the trade max, if I want to trade that higher news impact, which I don't recommend anybody do because what can happen? What can happen is price can most likely do this. Price can go up a little bit and then shoot down and then come back up and shoot up. So that's why I don't really recommend it. But I know a lot of you guys will do it anyways because the setup might look way too good. So, I mean, if you guys are going to trade against a high impact news, just check the Forex Factory and see if it's in your favor or it's not in your favor, guys. Always make sure to do that. So when you guys see an orange folder, it's a medium impact news. So this is against the Australian dollar. So let's look at it. So we don't have an actual or forecast right here. So in this situation, we really don't know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? So it is a medium impact news. So it could have way more potential of moving the market than a low impact news. So in this situation, you can read this up. If it looks good, okay. If it looks bad, if you don't understand anything, just stay away. Just stay away. But most of the time, if it's a medium impact news, guys, you probably won't see any movement at all, or you'll see a little spike here and there, but it won't be big or nothing. None like the red folders, which is the high impact news. So that's basically where I go to identify, news and events that's going to happen that could affect a pair. And if it could affect my trade, it's the forexfactory.com. You guys can see it here. And yeah, guys, that's all you got to do. Just check this out. See if it's in your pair's favor. If not, stay away. And yeah, guys, very simple, very simple. And at the bottom here, you have like little forums and stuff like that, like news, latest stories. So you can see other stuff that happened, like OPEC plus calls for urgent Sunday meetings. So you can go and just click here if you guys are interested in reading about news. And then you can read all about this, blah, blah, blah. As you guys can see here, a historic 10 million barrel per day output deal that has been held up by Mexican objection. So you can read a whole bunch of stuff here. These are what we call fundamentals, man. You guys can read up all about this. You guys don't have to, but I do know people who actually love reading it. It's crazy. They're very, very smart people. So then again, guys, like I said, if you guys want to know if the pair is going to be impacted against you or in your favor, just go to Forex Factory and then just go here And you guys can just go scroll down and see the date. Okay, here, look, okay, boom, boom, boom. Click on the thing. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But we'll just click around, play with it. You know, it's really nothing, you know, out of the ordinary that could very confuse you guys. So, yeah, guys, that's all you got to do. You know, if it's red, stay away. If you want to get in and it looks good with a nice setup and the news is with you in this favor, now you have technicals and fundamentals in your favor, and you have a really higher chance of winning, or you have a higher chance of getting stopped out. So, I mean, I personally don't recommend it, but, you know, I know people are going to do it anyways. So if you guys are going to do it, just make sure you guys check here and make sure it's in your favor. If the analysis looks good, but the news looks bad, you have a 90% chance you will lose. Not a 50-50, you have a 90% chance you will lose on the trade. So be very smart, guys. Be very, very smart. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching.